You know, guys, I've been thinking. Well, there's a first time for everything. Haha, no. I've been thinking that I might want to try running a game.
You want to try being a game master?
Yeah, I've got a cool idea for an adventure. So just me and Dweebles with you running? Well, I figured I might try GMing Seth, too.
I'm good with that. Dude, are you sure about that? I mean, running a game for me and Mike is one thing, but running a game for your regular GM?
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
Guys, there is no reason why you shouldn't be able to run a game yourselves and have your regular GM as just one of the other players.
How can you say that?
Well, I'll tell you. Hello Internet, Seth Skorkowski, and today we're going to talk about players who want to step up and move into the role of being a game master, but feel intimidated at the idea of running their regular game master as a player in that game. This is normal, and I think most game masters have gone through this at that point when they decided to move it up to the next level. You know, the student becoming the masters, or the geek circle of life. Or is that the Sith? I get Star Wars and nature documentaries confused a lot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to present this video in two halves. The first half to the players, you courageous souls who want to move on up to the next level, but find the idea of game mastering your regular GM a bit intimidating. And the second and far shorter half is for all you game masters out there who have a player who wants to run you an adventure and kind of some advice and tips on ways that you could avoid screwing that up. Seriously, GMs, you could really screw this one up, so you definitely need to watch the second half of this video. So first off, to all you players out there, I am proud of you, and there is nothing to worry about when it comes to running your game master as a player.
Thanks, but I'm just worried that my GM is going to judge me and how bad I am.
Your GM is not going to judge you. Hell, out of everyone in the room, they're the most sympathetic and understanding when it comes to doing the job because they know what you're going through. And honestly, many GMs are going to be so happy at just the idea of getting to play the game that they're going to jump at the chance to play with you and let you run them.
Yeah, but you just know the regular game master is going to backseat drive the game. It's in their nature to be in control, and they're going to undermine the player GM.
What? No, your regular game master is not going to backseat drive. They're going to be playing the game, and out of anyone in the room, they know how frustrating it is when a player tries to backseat drive the game. So they're going to respect the player game master's authority.
But what about the other players? Won't they judge my performance versus how well our regular GM runs the game?
That's a risk that every game master takes when running people who have played under other game masters before. I still get it whenever I'm running new players who've had other GMs, so honestly, the best advice is just to find your own voice. Don't try to run the game the way another game master runs their game. Run the game how you want to be game mastered, and the more comfortable you get with running adventures, the more of your own voice is going to emerge from that. But the first step in that is just running that first game and learning how to be a game master yourself. So players, there is nothing to worry about. If you want to try running a game, you know, maybe a one-shot or kind of a short adventure like that, or maybe take the plunge into a longer multi-session campaign, I say go for it. And don't worry about running a game for your regular game master. There is absolutely nothing to fear with that. They are probably going to be your biggest supporter. Okay, so that's it for the players half. So players out there, get to writing that adventure and have fun. Now all you game masters in the audience, please just stick around for a minute. There's a couple little things that we need to discuss before you go. Until next time, players, you have a great day.
Are they gone yet? Yeah, coast is clear. It's just us and the game masters now.
Whew. Okay. Game Masters, it has finally happened. One of your players has stepped up and decided to run a game and let you play it. Your time as a forever GM is finally done. You are gonna get to play. This is great. I am happy for you. Hell, I'm jealous even. Now, I have assured all your players out there that you're gonna be good and that there's nothing to worry about game mastering the regular GM. Now, that is all that I can do. Now, your job is not to make me a liar. So there is something very, very important that I need to tell you. And not just you, and not just for the player GM, or not just for all the other players in the group, but for all the other forever GMs out there who would love to be in your place. Don't this up. Yeah, you. Sure, I know you don't mean to. Why would you want to? You've been waiting for this. But very often, game masters screw this up and accidentally ruin it. So let's talk about how to not only make the experience fun for the player GM and you and all the other players, but make it an experience that can happen a second or third time, or maybe become a regular thing in the future. First, don't backseat drive.
The creature leaps out before you, slime dripping from its fingers. Blood stains its chipped teeth as it charges. Let's roll initiative.
Don't forget that we should also roll our sanity checks with an added bonus to it because of the state of the mangled corpse.
Oh yeah. Your adventurers walk into the ancient dungeon, your bootsteps echoing off the high ceiling above. Far ahead in the distance, you hear the faint sound of dripping water.
Hey, don't forget that Mike has an added bonus die to his passive perception.
Yeah, thanks. The space pirate shoots his laser and misses Mike by 1 point, the blast burning a hole in the wall beside Mike's head.
Ooh, did you give the pirate his +1 aiming bonus as a minor action? Because if you didn't, then he should have hit Mike.
Yeah.
A common mistake that game masters make when they've taken the role of being a player under one of their normal players is the idea that they're trying to help that player out or that new game master out. We imagine ourselves as sort of a mentor, or that we're being helpful rather than being a backseat driver. But the bad news is that very often they come off as being the same thing. So while you think that you're being helpful, you run the very probable risk of undermining the player game master's authority. This not only chips away at the confidence of the player GM, the one that you're trying to help by offering all this advice, but it also reinforces in the minds of all the players around the table that it's you, not the player game master, who's the real authority at the table. So even though you're sitting with them as a player, you're still the game master of this game. But I'm just trying to help, you say. I know that, but the road to hell and being a forever GM are both paved with good intentions. First, you're being a rules lawyer. Don't do that. Out of everyone at the table, you know how annoying those players are. Second, while a regular player might offer some tips or some advice to the game master during the course of the game, it sends a very different message when you, the regular game master, does the same thing. Now, if the player game master asks you for help,
Hey Seth, how do we do a surprise in this situation?
give them help, but be brief and only do it when they ask you. My most recent experience of this was at a con a few months ago, back at the days before COVID when we used to have gaming conventions. I had signed up for a game of Call of Cthulhu, and I was really looking forward to it. Now, regular viewers of my channel know that I am a huge fan of Call of Cthulhu. I've done a huge 9-part how-to series on just how to play it. And a common and awesome fan mail that I'll get from time to time goes a lot like this. Hey Seth, thank you for introducing me to Call of Cthulhu. I love it, and now I run it at conventions. So I confess that when I signed up for this game, I was a little afraid that if I showed up, that the game master would be somebody that learned how to play the game for me, and they would know who I was, and they would be a bit intimidated by that. Now thankfully, the GM of that game was a veteran keeper, and he had no clue who I was, which would have been kind of cool had he at least known who I was, but, I guess that's fine. But most of the players at the table did know who I was, and the game was going fine. But at one point, though, the game master gave an incorrect ruling, Okay, let me rephrase that. He didn't give an incorrect ruling. He gave a ruling that was different than what the written rules say. I don't even remember what the ruling was. What it was doesn't matter. But the GM had to make a call to keep the game moving. He made the call, and it wasn't quite what the rule book said that it should be. And at that moment, several sets of eyes turned to me, wondering if I was going to say something, maybe to correct this game master, which I didn't. I just smiled, and we kept playing, and we kept having fun. Because had I spoken up, which one, that would be rude, and two, it would slow the game down as we started discussing this ruling, maybe pulled out books and checked the books to see what the books had to say, and three, it would tell the players around the table and the keeper that I was the authority in the game and not the game master, which that would be a completely dick move to do. Now, if the player GM is completely floundering and the game is going up in flames and tempers are flared and people are crying and switchblades are getting pulled out and chaos is imminent, yeah, go ahead, speak up. But otherwise, keep your mouth shut and let the GM drive. All of us have stumbled when we were first starting off. That's just part of the learning process and a necessary part of the learning process. So let the player game master learn. You just play the game and have fun. And if the player GM needs you, you are there for them to ask you for help. Another thing, and I really hate the fact that I have to say this one, but I do, is don't waste your opportunity to be a player to squander all that as a time for petty revenge. Look, we've all imagined it. A player does something that gets under your skin and you say to yourself, one day when they run a game, I hope somebody does that to them so they can see how bad it is. Fantasizing it is about one thing. I can't blame anybody for fantasizing about it. I do it all the time. All the time. But actually acting on that is completely different. Intentionally behaving in a way that could disrupt the game and hurt the game master's enjoyment, that is a dick move. Don't do it. Don't ever do that. Remember that the player GM isn't the only one watching you. The rest of the players are watching you as well. And if you screw the game up or you misbehave, either intentionally or unintentionally, not only are you hurting the chances of the player game master ever running you again, but the other players are going to see your bad behavior and they're going to say,
"No way am I ever running a game for that jerk either."
"No way." Okay, so all we've talked about so far is what you shouldn't do when you've taken on the role of the player. So let's go ahead and switch gears and talk about what you should do. First, have fun. You have been waiting months or even years for this opportunity, and now is your chance not to worry about what's going on behind the Game Master screen, so just play the game and have fun. Because you don't have time to worry about what's going on in the Game Master screen because you have a very different side job that you need to be doing while you're playing, and that is to be the model player. Have you ever wished your players would use certain strategies or in-game mechanics? Have you ever wanted to show them how to treat a game master right and with the respect they deserve? Well, now here's your chance. Earlier when I told the players that they should game master the game the way they want to be GM'd, well, the second half of that sentence is essentially you should play the game the way you want your players to play it. So, play like a badass. You're not going to steamroll over the other players. You're going to respect the GM's authority. You're even going to laugh at all their lame jokes, because my players never laugh at mine. I mean, yours. My players laugh at my jokes all the time. They tell me I'm hilarious. This is your chance to show all the players all those brilliant ideas you would have had if you were the one playing as you're sitting behind the screen going, "I can't believe they don't think about this." But it's also a good opportunity to learn how much harder it is to actually come up with those brilliant ideas when you're not already aware of where all the traps are or how many monsters are hiding behind the door. Seriously, being a player is a little bit harder than you might remember it being. But if you play poorly, if you're a steamroller or a murder hobo or just act like some sort of annoying player, not only are you sending a message that you're a bad player that nobody should run, but you're also sending the message that you think that sort of player behavior is perfectly alright to do, which isn't going to look that good the next time you crawl behind the GM screen and your players are going to start acting the way you did. So you don't have time to backseat drive the game. You're going to be busy being the best damn player that you've ever seen. Now, once the game is done comes your final test.
So, what did you think of the game?
Well, let me tell you what I think. Don't screw this up. A good game master should always be asking for feedback after a session. Find out, make sure that everybody's having fun and they're enjoying it. Kind of learn whatever it is that they're wanting. That way you can hopefully start kind of working the game that direction to give them more of what they're wanting. So the player GM is probably going to ask you, the regular GM, what you thought about the game. Now, you probably do have a few opinions here, and honesty is the best policy. But how you approach this answer, now that is the key. Tell them what they did well. Don't assume that they know what they did well. They're asking for your approval when they're asking you what you thought, so be sure that you give it. Give them answers that tell them what they did well and what encourage them to do that again in the future. You might also have some advice to talk about areas where they did wrong or it didn't go that smoothly or poorly, but don't unload all of those at the same time. Really just give 2 or 3 examples of times that they could have done better that you can point out to them, but always give advice as how they could approach or overcome that the next time they face that situation. Don't just say that you messed up here and then move on to the next topic. No, approach this as a suggestion or an idea of how they can overcome the same situation in the future. Be constructive. Phrasing is important. If you start out your criticism with things like, "I like the way you were going with this," that not only makes the player GM receptive to the next thing that you're about to say to them, but it assures them that you didn't just outright hate the game, which is honestly going to be one of their biggest concerns. And don't overload them with, 200 tiny details and complaints. Just stick to the high points and offer suggestions, and most of all, be supportive. Remember that they're not just asking you as a player what you thought about the game, but they're asking you as a fellow game master what you thought about the game. They're asking you as a peer. So offer feedback to them, but also remind them that this is a big learning curve and emphasize the words next time. Because telling them that next time when they have the game is the best way of ensuring that there will be a next time that they run a game, and there might be a next time that you get to play it.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see some more of our stuff, such as game reviews and RPG philosophy, just hit that subscribe button. Till next time, amigos, stay awesome. Seriously though, what did you think of the game?